Hello folks, good afternoon. Hope you're having a good one. A bit earlier today, as we have the European Championship final later on today, so I thought, because I want to watch that myself, I thought I'd come on a bit earlier, get the stream out the way, you know. And that way I'm out of your guys' way as well, so you can have a good time watching it, if you want to. Big day in my country. Those of you who know me will know I'm not that bothered about the England national team, and it's not really something that I'm bothered about, but it should be a good game. And it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Greetings from Australia. Cheers, underdog. Good lad. Whatever happened to the effect you were going to put on this year? What do you mean by effect? Event? Do you mean event? Well, with the... how do I... Let me go into my thing here. Yeah, we were originally going to put on an event where we had like a tournament or something going on for one-page rules. But in the end, nearly every venue we went to in Liverpool was... either booked, had an extortionate price attached to it, or didn't want Warhammer there. And with Composite Games, they've been going through a rough patch recently, so I didn't really want to put even more pressure on them. So eventually I just said, right, we'll scrap it and we'll try and do it towards the winter maybe. Like a Halloween event would be pretty cool. Raziel says, I've been following your advice, started working out. Now I have to buy new t-shirts because the arms are getting pretty tight. Thanks for that. Good lad. Good lad. I've just started the gym again this week. More fool me, I went on Friday afternoon and really hammered it. And then I took the missus to a Queen tribute act gig in the city centre later on that night. And my legs were like aching. I mean sore. Absolutely sore. And then yesterday, we went to a rooftop event. And again, sore. And today, very sore. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be okay. Yeah, Zebo, the summer hasn't really arrived yet. And people keep saying to me, well, in England, hang on a minute, in England, all you do for summer is that you have... you know, a week of really, really, really big sunshine, right? Like a heat wave. Thanks, Ed, for becoming a member, dude. Good man. And then it goes into rain. You know what I mean? And we don't really get it summer. I disagree. The past few years in England have been boiling over the summer. Really nice summers. Really having fun with them as well. Especially 2021, 2022. Those 2 years were very sunny. In the summer months. 2023 and this year, though, have been terrible. Terrible. Overcast, rainy the entire time. I had to put a coat on yesterday. It's the middle of July. I had to put a coat on. It was that cold. So, yeah, I'm not very happy with it at the moment. Have I got Skaven Tide? I will get Skaven Tide, but I don't have it yet, no. Your channel literally inspired me to start the hobby, so cheers. Cheers, man. Good on you, underdog. What army did you go with? So the rundown of today, There's no prize draw, mainly because I'm waiting for my first and second batch round of prizes to get to their recipients. Once I've gotten the A-OK that they've got there and everything's fine, then I'll do another prize draw. I just don't want to fall behind, do you know what I mean? I want to catch up, make sure everything's sent off and done, and then when I get the A-OK from the prize winners that the prize has got there, then I'll do the another prize draw. We've got a few more new models now to give away, which is cool. Yeah, Jen. I'm the same. I swear to God, if I actually get any sort of property elsewhere, it'll be in a warm country. Do you know what I mean? Most definitely. Chaos Space Marines painted as Night Lords. Man of culture. Man of culture. Afternoon, caring commander. Hopefully having a good day. So yeah. Instead, what we're going to do is do the hobby showcase. And with two of our hobby showcases, we actually have Hobby Nightmares attached to them. And I will read out live Hobby Nightmares for the first time ever. So that's going to be cool. I'll do it a bit later on. And then we're probably going to play some City Skylines as I start my new city for the summer. So every summer, I build a city in City Skylines. And I figured, why not start it today? When we're on the channel. Why not? The missus is cooking up Mexican downstairs, so... yeah. That's going to be nice later. Jen says, also, hi, I don't normally catch your streaming, but I'm one of your few female fans. Was a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare on Fridays, I thought I'd follow along today. Good girl, cheers. Cheers. Thank you very much. We don't really get Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmares, I will say that. Oh, I've got a bit of news, but I'm not sure whether I can make the video yet about the bit of news that I've got. But... Eman G, who the young man who is being sued by Games Workshop, he has been in touch with me, and we've been emailing back and forth. Very polite young man, very nice guy. So we've been going back and forth a little bit, and he's explained and brought clarity to a few things that were going on in his case, in his legal case with Games Workshop. So hopefully he gives me permission to use what he said and what he's told me in a new video so I can get more news out there of what he's facing in terms of money and things like that. If he gets permission from his lawyers, we will do. But yeah, I'd like to thank him on record whilst we're streaming right now for getting in touch and for clearing up a few things. Most of the stuff I got right, but there's a few things in the old legal mumbo-jumbo that got lost in translation. Which is a lot worse than what we originally feared in terms of what he's going through. Again, I make no bones about it. Emanji's case, I've said it on the channel before. You know, what he did was not smart, and I told him that as well. When we were emailing back and forth, I told him straight up, like, what you did was not smart. And I said it in a video, you know, just for clarity. But I will never be insulting or nasty to somebody like that, because they're going through a lot. You know, I know what it's like to go through the ringer with you know, states and entities that are much larger than you. I've gone through it with my daughter, you know, having to go up with the government and social services and all sorts of things, right? So I know how it feels to be, you know. And in mine, it was stressful enough, and I wasn't even the one who was, shall we say, you know, negatively affected, you know. It was still that stressful. So God knows what Eman G is going through, and I hope he's all right. Lovely guy though. Hopefully he gives me the thumbs up, and we can, you know, do a new video on Tuesday maybe when I discuss it, or maybe he might even come on the channel. I don't know. I have asked him. I've said, you know, can I use this in a video? So hopefully he'll come back and say, why don't I just do it myself? And I'd be fine with that. It'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, here we go. Like Karen Commissar, I know what you mean in that, you know, Hobby Nightmares, you know, yours can seem a little tame if you read it yourself or you read it back yourself. A lot of Hobby Nightmares aren't explosive and aren't, like, amazing. Do you know what I mean? And I read a hell of a lot of them, and I do email people back and say, listen, this is great, but I'm not going to use it because this is just you having a less than stellar day in the hobby, right? This isn't a Hobby Nightmare. Yeah. Or, like, saying, oh, my opponent was rude isn't really a Hobby Nightmare. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really a Hobby Nightmare. So. Hey, Noel, how's it going, man? No problem, Positive Geekery. You do what you need to do. What's City Skylines like? I've been playing SimCity on the SNES. City Skylines is essentially... imagine SimCity on steroids, and with all the EA bullshit taken out of it, and you basically got... and make it 3D. And you basically got City Skylines. What wargame clubs do you recommend in London? I wouldn't know, mate. I wouldn't know, Stufa. Don't live there. And I've never really done the hobby down there. Yeah, I've only ever walked away from an opponent, like, once. Maybe twice. Maybe twice. I don't count my second one as a walk-off because it was kind of like a mutual, let's just stop, you know what I mean? We're both a bit tired. But the one that I did walk away from was... So, essentially, the guy I'd said before we met up that what I was bringing, you know, and he didn't give me his army list. Which is a big red flag straight away, right? And this is one of the things that got me to step away from competitive gaming. Because I just couldn't hack it anymore. It was horrible. And he turned up and essentially had brought and tailored a list to smack me off the table at the top of turn 1. He got first turn, and duly, most of my models were wiped off the board. This is in 7th edition, so he was using the Skyhammer formation, meaning I couldn't move. I was pinned the entire time. Everything was decked, you know, and by the top of turn 2, I was pretty much tabled. So, yeah, that was the only time I've actually stopped and said, listen, I'm no longer having fun. I got at the top of turn 2, and I'm like, listen, I have about 5% of my models left. You haven't lost a single model. I'm going to call it here because I'm not having fun, you know. Noel says, I was at a Rammstein concert yesterday. So I feel like I was run over by a truck. Other than that, all good. Are they really popular in Germany? As popular as they are, like, everywhere else? Because they are really popular in England, in the metal scene. Jen says, I've actually seen worse behaviour in the board games community than 40k. Wargaming or role-playing. Not Monopoly, but the complex Euro games and the like. Admittedly, I play them more often now. Euro games. Jen, give me an example of what a Euro game is. What do you mean when you say that? You mean like German and French and things like that? Must admit, I've never really been that into board games. Do you know what I mean? I'll play them. You know, I definitely will play them. It's just about getting time. You know what I mean? Like, if I've got time to play a board game, I've probably got time to play a 40k game, and I'd rather play 40k. You know? Eurogames are like those resource collecting or business expanding board games. Oh, okay. Okay, so they're quite in-depth then. They're going to take like 4 or 5 hours. Stuff that branched out from Catan, basically. Lots of components, meeples, and minimal direct conflict between players. Puerto Rico, Agricola, Castles of Burgundy, etc. So here's the thing, Jen. Right, here's the thing. I've always... and feel free to call me toxic, all you like, and I don't mind. But I've always wanted a bit of adversarial things at the tabletop. You know what I mean? I want to be playing in a game where other people can screw with me and I can screw with them, you know? When we're all approaching the same game in the same way, I don't know. It just doesn't... The vibe's off. You know what I mean? We're not actually playing a game. We're trying to beat the game. I'll play a game like that, but I think I'd be much more happy if we were all... Like Catan. Catan, you are, you know, screwing with each other for a little bit. Yeah, I see board games more of a family time thing. I've never sat down with my wargamer group, simply because we can't decide what to play. Had my first game of Age of Sigmar 4th on Friday on my Slaves the Darkness. Got cooked, stomped by my opponent Seraphon. Then again, if it's your first game in a new edition, you can't really give yourself too much in the way of... Do you know what I mean? Give yourself a break. Ah, that's alright, Jen, yeah. So that is what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's why I like Root. Every faction has its own playstyle and winning conditions. Everybody can screw over the others. That sounds cool. Sounds cool. I've seen Talisman. Zeba, I've seen that in the local store. And people playing it. They all seem to be laughing quite a lot, having a lot of fun, which is good. New Age of Sigmar. I do wonder how it plays. I must admit, I was always... How do I put it? Really put off by the original Age of Sigmar. You know, the original way that they went about it. I honestly think that was a... Nobody can ever convince me that Games Workshop didn't do that on purpose. Like, it was a purposeful tactic to flip off their old fan base for Warhammer. Do you know what I mean? It just... No one can convince me otherwise. They did that on purpose. You know. Because you know how stickler Warhammer Fantasy Battles fans, players, are with the rules, right? So what do? Well, you nuke their entire setting, and then you go and create a new game that is a Saturday morning cartoon which has rules like, if you're wearing a hat, you get X amount more points for this and that and the other. If you stand on one leg or you bark like a dog, there were literally rules like that in the original Age of Sigmar. If you want to piss off Warhammer Fantasy Battles fans, that's the kind of game you release in lieu of the old world, and that's what they did. So nobody can actually convince me That Games Workshop didn't know full well what they were doing and were going after their fans and tell them to fuck off, essentially. Which wouldn't be the first time, of course. Yeah, and the original, yeah, it was literally bare bones. It was hardly a game. It was hardly a game. Shall we do some showcase? Why not? I'll do yours first, Daniel, since you sent it in. Daniel's Nagash, ladies and gentlemen. Let me... There we go. I really, really, really love watercolours. I mean, what I mean by that is like blues. Do you mean blue colours? Love it. Swimmy blue colours. Hello. Thank you. Oh, you're a star. Thank you. Are we doing when you're gonna be over the stove, slaving away?
When do you want it?
Whenever.
When are you finishing? Are you finished?
No.
I'll start prepping it in about 20 minutes.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Thank you. Yeah. So cool, Nagash. Sorry, Mrs. brought me in a drink and some chocolate, which is nice. Not chocolate, it's protein bars. Wow, that guy looks epic. Look at this guy. Really love the offsetting of colours here. Very nice. Is that a conversion, Daniel? Is that a conversion or is that a model you gotten out the box? It's a stock model, Daniel. Really? I'm going back to that one sec. What model, what set is it from? Dr. Rotwang says, honest question. I've been a Patreon supporter since about when you started it. Good man, thank you very much. Well, that means a lot to me, so thank you. Do you prefer to stick with Patreon or would you prefer to support by channel membership instead? Whatever you feel is most comfortable for you, most convenient for you, that's what you should do. I don't have a preference either way, mate. Honestly, it's your money. If you want to waste it on me, I thank you very much, and you do it however you want to do it. Whatever is going to charge you less or be more convenient for you, you should do that. All right. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your lovely models. Alrighty. So this one is from Lee. Let's have a little look at his robot, shall we? That looks cool. I like it. Very nice. Alright, time for some live Hobby Nightmares. Let's do it. Let's do some live Hobby Nightmares. Hang on, no, I'll do this one first. And then we'll read out of our Hobby Nightmare that is live for the first time. I can't believe I've never done that before. Like a live Hobby Nightmare. Such a good idea. Thing is, I don't want to do anything too mental for like live Hobby Nightmares, you know what I mean? So I'll try and there we go. Okay, why isn't this turning up? Ah, right, yeah, they're sent in a HEIC file, which I can't put on the channel. Oh, God. Please make sure your things are in JPEGs, please, like a normal person. Right. Hobby Nightmare time. These are JPEGs, which is nice. Very nice. So we'll put these up as we go. These are some very nicely coloured Space Marines. And Admech. Dude, the face of that Sister of Battle's amazing. Look at that. Right, I'm going to read out this Hobby Nightmare. So, hi North. You can call me Jason, for 'tis my name. I've been listening to your channel for a few months now, and I've drifted back into my office as they have finally begun to clamp down on the home workers left over from the COVID era. I save your Hobby Nightmares / 40k rant videos to listen to whilst at work, whilst I'm doing my thing. The mental health video you brought up recently was great to listen to, as I've had several severe mental health issues as of late, and I've only just started to recover from them. Your videos have been like unwrapping a nice little cup of hot chocolate to carry me through the monotony of work. So thank you for that. You're welcome. I also really like some of the music you've been using recently in the background of your videos. So would you mind putting the track names and links to the music in your video description? Thanks. I used to, loads. But I tell you what, mate, if you just Google Cyberpunk royalty free, like, I've used like every one of those. So if you just put that into YouTube, it'll come up, right? Anyway, I haven't been into the modelling or painting side of the hobby since I was a wee teenager back in the early to mid 90s when I had a dwarf army for Warhammer Fantasy, as we called it back then. Sadly, I have absolutely no idea where those models are now. I have always kept up with the video games and lore, however, I am exclusively into 40k these days, aside from when I play Warhammer Total War. My little story about re-engaging with the board game side of the hobby is that after glancing in the window of the local Warhammer store with my girlfriend whilst passing, she commented on how interesting it seemed. After I told her about the fact I used to paint when the models were made of pewter or lead or whatever it was, she encouraged me to pick it up again. I've been really into AdMech ever since I played Mechanicus on Steam, almost to an obsessive level, so I picked up a box of Skitarii, then later a box of Sicarians, when I found out that Kill Team was a thing. I don't have the time, money or patience for regular size 40k or its rules. Well, I can't blame you for that. Like, that's not something I can blame you for. Modern 40k is a pain in the ass to play. 10th edition's a bit of a joke. It's a bit of a meme. And the thing that annoys me about 10th edition, right, the thing that absolutely drives me potty, is they marketed 10th edition as a rebalancing and a reforging of what made 40k great in the first place, right? It was a pulling back of the curtain, a pulling back of stratagems and of gotcha moments and of things that run down the game. And then you play 10th edition and it plays almost exactly the same as 9th, if not worse. If not worse. Probably worse, to be honest with you. Not my bag at all. These models, though, are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, get some more ink into those recesses. Apart from that, looks lovely. Absolutely lovely. I'll carry on with Hobby Nightmare in a minute. Let me just do... there's a few more pictures that he's done here. A few close-ups of the old boys. Very nice. I don't have any hobby nightmares apart from some generic experiences with assholes I used to know 30 years ago when I first got into the hobby, but I do have models I recently painted after a massive hiatus. It took me weeks to paint the AdMech squads I bought, but I'm quite pleased with the results. Had I known how much of a ball ache they are to assemble and paint, I may not have bothered. I certainly jumped into the deep end in choosing AdMech as a first project, being so out of practice. I encouraged my girlfriend to buy some models too, since she found them so interesting and promised that I'd paint them. She chose Sisters of Battle. I also brought some Terminators just for the joy of painting something relatively big and simple, while still being cheap. But after hearing you talk about one-page rules, I think I may actually try them out with that once I buy some intercessors to fill out the ranks. I've attached some photos, let me know what you think. I'm quite pleased with the bases for the AdMech, less pleased with my first attempt at edge highlighting on Sicarian Infiltrator, as you can see, though I am pleased with the highlights of the robes of the Skitarii/Sicarian Princeps. Okay, I'm gonna... Listen, right. I need to say this because a lot of you have come up with similar, shall we say, issues. Edge highlighting is a fucking difficult thing to do. Like, very, very difficult. It is something that I can hardly get right. And most of the time, I don't get it right. Most of the time, it just looks like I've got a bit of a squiggle on my model, right? Do not compare yourself to other people when they edge highlight and consider yourself to be a failure. Alright? These models you've got here would pass the arm test. As we discovered the other week what an arm test was, right? Essentially, you hold your model up at arm's length, and if it looks good from there, it's good enough for the tabletop, and it's going to look really good on the tabletop fighting against other armies. What you've got here is a really nice breakdown of colours. Really nice use of colours. Silver and blue and purple going together is immaculate, and I really like the way that things like that look. I don't think you've got much to worry about here. Maybe thin down your paints a little bit more, but aside from that, dude, you've got the talent. It's there. Just nurture it. Keep going. There's literally no need to panic about any of this. Let's put these guys on. Dude, that's a really well-chosen colour scheme. That's a terrific colour scheme. I love it. I love the sword. Like the purple sword. Third guy from the right. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Okay. I've only just finished painting the Terminators, and I'm going to go with the yellow desert theme for their bases. Sorry if some of the pictures are a bit blurry, that's my phone trying to be clever and using AI-assisted dynamic focusing. Overall, I don't think I did too badly for somebody who is now middle-aged and hasn't picked up a brush since they were 14. Thanks for all you do anyway. I look forward to seeing everybody's paint jobs on Friday. Well, yeah, we're well past that now. This was sent in May. But a lovely set of models here, dude. I don't. These would definitely pass the arm test. These are similar quality to mine, actually. Very similar. Mine are quite similar. Let me see if I can find any. I should be able to somewhere. Should be able to find some somewhere. There we go. One sec. You're going to see some of my models now, since we're all sharing. Alrighty. So I think you'll see that your models are pretty much on a par with mine. So I'm not literally, you know... So this guy is a blade master. Well, he's a blade guard veteran from the Void Talons, right? That's what we have here. A Void Talon blade guard veteran. Awful quality of photograph, I know. But it is what it is. What I'd like to try and do with models that I'm doing, with you know, whether it be Astral Blades or Void Talons or whatever I'm doing. First thing you've got to know is, what does your army do? What do they do? Like, what are they for? What's their specialty? When are they called in? When do they intercede in conflicts? Once you've done that, that's when you start your modelling process. And that's what we've done with this guy here. What do the Void Talons do? With the Void Talons, assassinate and take down enemy champions. How? Normally through dueling. Where do they come from? They come from a world that is kind of like a desert world, which is very feudal and is inspired by Sengoku era Japan, right? There, done. And we have now, this is why this guy was built this way. He was built this way for that reason. He is a pain in the arse to put into a case to go to a game. I'm telling you that now. He is a right pain in the arse. This is like the first model I got when it was complete, that I actually said to myself, okay, yeah, that's a good looking model. Like that's something that I would, if I saw that in a hobby store or at a tournament, I'd be like, wow, can I look at that? You know, that kind of a thing. Threw my heart and soul into it. But again, passes the eye test, right? You hold it out, well, the arm test, sorry. You hold him out, he passes the arm test. I really highlight it looks unrealistic. No, can you explain that? That's an interesting point. It's an interesting point. Can you explain it? Oh, dude, like Jenna, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, zooming into to certain models, not worth it. Don't be zooming into your model like, you know, oh my god, look. I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. Really, I should be doing this. That's the size of the picture, right? That's the actual size of the picture. So it should look like this. So I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, really. Thin paints and a decent brush go a long way. I agree. I agree. You can see the Grey Knight World Eater influence too. Yeah, good. Good. So, in terms of skulls, none. This was a bespoke base that I ordered. 3D printed. Yeah, and I wanted to make sure that so the heritage of the Void Talons is there too. So these are people who are essentially Space Knights, right? They have nothing to do with the Grey Knights, they're just Space Knights. And so we use Grey Knight bits. And so, yeah, we do have... one thing that I thought was really, really cool was that I have a small army of Grey Knights, about 1,000 points, right? But I have about 2,000 points worth of Void Talons. But I can use both interchangeably, you know? Anything that's really Space Marine-y, like the Intercessors, I can't use with the Grey Knights, obviously. But the Terminators of the Void Talons are just Primaris-sized Terminators from the Grey Knight set, right? So the Terminators, the Grey Knight Terminators are not Primaris-sized yet. But what I've done is I've used the new Terminator set, combined it with the old Grey Knight set, and made massive, huge, hulking Grey Knight Terminators. And those Terminators are the Terminators for both my Terminator army and the Void Talons. These are little ways that you can save money, you know? So I can field 2 armies out of this one set of models, you know? Yeah, anything overly Grey Knight, like literally a Grey Knight, then, you know, no, you know? But this guy, as you can see, he could be in a Grey Knight army if I wanted him to be, but he's not. He's in the Void Talons. And authors wanted to say thanks. What a pleasure to have found your channel. Between the amusing hot takes, commentary, advice, and general chill your content provides. Thank you. Thank you, Badster. Cheers, man. What a nice person. Thank you. Jen says, I think it's where a lot of people's paint envy and feeling that they aren't good enough comes from. They're seeing the top 1% of skill level on Instagram and Reddit, and theirs looks bad when zoomed in. When they take a photo of themselves and it knocks some of the wind out of their sails, that's completely true. That's completely true. You know? It's terrible. It's terrible. Like, I can't stand it. When people compare themselves to actual professional painters, you know, these people are on Instagram, you know. if you've got the actual wind in your sails to put your models on Instagram, you know you're a good painter. You know you're a good painter. So why would anybody looking at that like say, okay, well, since mine isn't as good as that, I'm a failure? It's not how it works. That's not how it works. Don't be so silly. What I'm saying is, give yourself a break. You know? In all seriousness. Painting's not easy. The hobby is not easy. It just isn't. You know? In fact, sometimes it can be downright bloody difficult to get things where you want them to be. And how you want them to be. But you can't go into the... I don't know. You can't be going into the hobby expecting things to be absolutely your way all the time, or that your models are going to look exactly perfect every single time. That's not how it works. It just ain't how it works. You have got to give yourself a break. You know? Not doing so, you will walk away. I'm telling you now, you'll walk away from your hobby and will lose somebody else. That's where it goes. That's where this mindset takes you. You know, this mindset of I'm not good enough, or I'm never gonna be like Duncan Rhodes, or I'm never gonna be as good as one of the other guys who was on Instagram or whatever. Like, that's not what we're here for. Like, categorically, that's not what we're here for. You know? We're here to get better as model makers and painters and things, and we're here to create cool things that are based on cool stories that we like. If you've done that, then you've succeeded. You do not need to look like, the next coming of Duncan Rhodes. You don't. And I've always thought that it was like damp praise when somebody says, oh, even professional painters had to start somewhere. Oh, thanks. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be saying that to me. Alright? Because I know, in all honesty, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to be that talented. And I'm fine with that. As long as I'm happy with what I make and what I create, I'm be honest with you, this is one of the best models I've ever painted. And it's still nowhere near professional level. It still only passes the arm test. That's all it does. But the colours are picked out. Like, you can save yourself a ton of stress as a painter if you just pick out your colours properly. Right? Because a lot of the talent of a painter isn't actually in painting. It's in selecting what colours go with what. Even if you... I don't like the colour red that much, but I knew the red cloak would offset this character really well. If I did a blue cloak or something like that, yeah, it would look like it matched, but it wouldn't set anything off, right? It wouldn't be the right colour for this model at this moment in time. Most of your talent is in selecting that colour palette, is in selecting the right colour to go in the right place to make the model pop. Especially with the metal coloured model as well. Sad thing is that in a beer and pretzels game at their local club, their painting looks brilliant to all the people in there. Every time I see that it's from a good intermediate painter. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've never really gone into a situation when it comes to painting and felt ashamed of my models, right? I did have some really harrowing times at university because I've always been a writer. I've never really been a painter or a model person, and all of my friends had tons of experience, and so my models didn't look as good. They just didn't look as good as theirs. And I chose white to paint in as well, which is a stupid thing to do. And that's just how it was, and that was pretty harrowing to me. I felt really like I was letting the team down. But then, you know, I went and worked for Games Workshop after university. I became a better painter. They took me through, right? Several guys there took me aside and showed me what's what, how to do different blends, how to what colours go with what, how to dry brush properly, how to edge highlight properly. There's no edge highlighting on this model, by the way. If you don't like edge highlighting and you're painting metallic model, so that helmet there, all that is Retributor armor paint, so gold paint, right? Let it dry. Then you get some Nuln oil mixed with Agrax Earthshade, and you douse the whole thing in that to really dull it down, right? Then you get a dry brush of either Griffin Gold, which is a very light gold, or Stormhost. You can either do Stormhost Silver or you can do Necron Compound. I think this one is Necron Compound. And you very lightly dry brush over it. Bang! Done. That's it. That's how you paint Custodes, by the way. Your entire army. You can spray it in Retributor armor, douse it in ink, and then dry brush it with Necron Compound. Done. That is really high quality gold armor that pops. You know? It is shockingly simple to get really good results. If you just know what colours go with what. It's kind of annoying how easy it is when you find out and you think, oh my god, all these years I've been doing it wrong. Not wrong, but you know. Daniel, quote of the day, mate. Quote of the day. If you put some paint on the models you play with, straight away, you are doing so much service to the hobby. Quote of the day. If you put paint on your models, after buying them and putting them together, you're instantly in the top 5% of hobbyists. Instantly. Do you have any idea how many people don't bother? They just throw their armies together and go on the tabletop. They just don't bother. That's fine. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. But if you put paint on your models, you're instantly in the top 5% of hobbyists. Without even really trying. I don't mean undercoat, by the way. I mean like you're actually painting the models so that they look like they're painted. You know? We had a nightmare about this recently, and the narrator was really beating himself up because he felt like he wasn't good enough compared to the newer painter/player, and I felt legit bad for him. Yes, I remember that one. I remember that one. Yeah, so did I. So did I. I felt really bad. Yeah. I'm going to do some Q&A. If you've got a Q&A question, drop it in the chat. I'm going to do Patreon first, as always, and then I will do some Q&A from the chat. Okie dokie, let's have a look. We might not get to City Skylines today, because I'm enjoying having a chat and it's dragging on a bit. Well, that's fine. So question number 1. I have said if you want me to use your name, then tell me, because otherwise I won't use it, okay? Because it's some of you have your actual names here. So, question the first. Let me open this now. Okie dokie. Hi North, do you have any beer recommendations? I used to drink Newcastle Brown Ale because it was cheap and it never gave me a hangover. Ever. But then I've noticed that if you just stay on the same drink all night, you won't get a hangover either. If you're being sensible, right? You stay on the same beer or the same wine or whatever, you'll be fine. But I used to do Newcastle Brown Ale, and recently I've started drinking Shipyard. Yeah, American Pale Ale, Shipyard. Very nice. Very nice. What is your opinion on the Euros so far? That's a football question. I'm somebody who follows Italy on the national level, so it hasn't gone well for them. In fact, it went very, very, very badly. But I think Italy and Spain and England tonight, isn't it? And I think it'll be 3-1 to Spain. I think England will take the lead. I think Spain will just come back into the game because they're that good. And I think in the second half, Spain will tactically change what they're doing to negate England. and we'll go ahead. And because Gareth Southgate can't adapt, we'll come forward, trying to stick to plan A the entire time and not switch anything up, and then Spain will score a third one towards the end of the game. There we go. That's what I think will happen. All right. North. This one's today. Cool. North, what is your opinion on what's been going on with Trump in the United States right now? Was a bit of a harrowing evening over here where I live. Okay. I try and keep politics away from the channel. If those of you who are on the Discord will know how much I try to keep politics away from this little section of the internet that we've carved out for ourselves. And to me, that's pretty precious. You know, it is pretty precious to me. You know, I think it's terrible. It shouldn't have happened. It's awful. And I wish Trump all the best. Not that he cares, because this is like a small hobby channel. I don't know what, you know. But yeah, politics goes out the window. Like when people start getting assassinated, man, that's not good. That's not good, right? We are, or even attempted. You know, it's not great. And anybody celebrating shit like that, go and touch grass, you fucking fool. You know. Yeah, but it's not for the channel, so I don't really want to pass comment on it rather than what I've just said. So, there we go. Would you ever consider doing a deep dive into the Eisenhorn series, specifically the last 2 books about Beckwin and the incoming pandemonium? It's my most anticipated thing in 40k. Yeah, I would. I mean, are the Beckwin books really about Eisenhorn though? That's the thing. Not for me. Like, Eisenhorn books have Eisenhorn in them as a main character, you know. So yeah, what I really like about the Eisenhorn books is how much they resemble a role-playing campaign. You know what I mean? Like, every time. And in doing so, they are incredibly easy listens. Or reads, depending on what you want to do. Kyvia sent me some new models. Some Blood Ravens. Retro Blood Ravens. Indeed. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Thin down your paints. But very nicely done. And I'm not sure if you were going for the glossy finish, or the really shiny finish. But yeah, thin down your paints a little bit, and you're on to a winner, because you can paint. You got some talent there. It's only when you see the old Marines you realise how misproportioned they are, compared to the Primaris. Learn what you can from painting these. Thin down your paints, use some inks, and go and get yourself some intercessors. Because that colour scheme on a bunch of intercessors will look fabulous. Look really, really, really good. But, yeah, good for you. You paint your 1,000 Suns. I mean, Blood Ravens. Yeah. I did thin my paints. The glosses from the quick shade. Okay, cool. Did you do how many coats did you do? It does seem like it's on thick there, you know. These are the first ever Marines you painted. Mate, as I've said, brilliant looking models. Absolutely. I could not do this when I was first painting. Which, again, what you need to do is when somebody like me says that, take that in the right way, right? I could not paint like this when I first started. Nowhere near. Absolutely nowhere near. I was rubbish. Hey North, do you have any recommended websites to purchase physical 3D prints from? No, I don't, unfortunately. I will do pretty soon, when they get back to me and we start doing business together. But yeah, I had a business meeting like a month ago with a young man who was setting up his own 3D printing business, and he has really good 3D prints, and so he's going to start using the channel to try and get more customers, which is cool. I agree, y'all. They are fantastic for first models. Even attempting eye lenses as a first-time hobbyist is ridiculous. Yeah, if you did thin your paints... This is the thing. Do you know when you're trying to teach somebody something, and I've done this through school as well, is when you say, like, say when I said to you there, Blood Raven, I said, you know, you need to thin your paints down. You said, I did. Well, looking at the model, I can see you didn't. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you may think that you thin down your paints, but either you thin them down incorrectly, or you've done more than 2 or 3 coats to get it looking good. Less is more, man. Less is more. Let it dry. Do one nice thin coat over your undercoat. Undercoat your model. Do one nice thin coat of the red, and see how that dries. Like, don't put any more paint on until it's completely dry. And then you look at it under the light, and if you're happy with it, continue. They just, you know, add details from there on in. If it looks like it's splotchy in places, or you haven't got a good coverage, or it's a bit thin, so you're seeing like the white or the black underneath, then, you know, do another thin coat. But always err on the side of caution when it comes to, you know, how many coats you do and how thick those coats are. It is very neat, Daniel, I agree. Like, the eye lenses, especially on the cream helmet there, are terrific. Absolutely amazing. Really well done. A couple of them I dipped into the Army Painter Quick Shade specifically, and some of the others I brushed on the Quick Shade. Also, I use Army Painter paint. It doesn't matter what paint you use in terms of your coverage, right? In terms of, you know, it's still the same rule. Still exactly the same rule. Yeah, don't worry about it too much. Maybe a little less than the old Quick Shade. Yeah. The best thing I've ever done for minis is getting a wet palette. It really helps with getting the perfect flow of paint. It does, yeah. Yeah. People don't realise how much a wet palette helps until you've got one yourself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Cheers, Daniel. Welcome. The manager at my local Warhammer store worked at every metal. Okay? Or EV metal. And he always spends a big section of painting introductions to properly thinning paint. I think that's an incredibly important thing. It's the one thing that nearly everybody does when they first start. Unfortunately, it is not thin the paints. I mean, I think Blood Raven has just said that, you know, his paints are the quick shade effect, but it's gone on bloody thick. So, yeah. But it looks good though. Looks good. For a first-time painter, now those Blood Ravens are nothing to sniff at, mate. They'll do better than passing the arm test. My best hobby tip is to embrace using Tester's dull coat as your sealer. It knocks down all of the glossiness and really helps even out colour variation and brush strokes. Rotwang, would you say that's a cheat? In a good way. Would you say that's a cheaty thing to do? Because I know people say that non-oil is cheating. Because it's like liquid talent. Jen says about the football, I'm Scottish, but I think anybody but England is a bit cringe. It's very tired by this point and looks petty. I'm not really bothered if England win or lose, but I reckon Spain will win a tight final. I think so too. Yeah. In response to your question, Wendell, I would consider it. But only if I could like write a full essay on the Eisenhorn series, then I'd do it. That's alright, Blood Raven. You're not spamming. To be fair, like Blood Raven, it's up to me if I show them or not, right? You can send as many as you like. Mate. I won't put them on until next time. But send all your models in. I don't mind. The one thing that always got to me whenever I was learning how to do an introduction at Games Workshop, so you would learn to do an intro game, right? And you would also learn how to do an intro painting session. Essentially, you know, you sit down, a customer comes in saying, "Oh, I've always thought about Warhammer. Like, what is all this stuff?" And you sit them down and have a little chat to them and have some fun. But the one thing that always got to me that I never really liked was there was one manager who was showing you a video of how to do an introduction, right? So there was a guy, an actor portraying a customer, and the Games Workshop manager who's a veteran of Games Workshop. And he was sitting there and he's talking, saying, "Oh yeah, cool." And then he sticks his brush in his mouth. Do you know what I mean? To make it point again, right? And then put it down. And you could just see the look in the actor's face just go, "Did you just stick that fucking brush in your mouth, dude?" You know, like you know, he just looked like, "What?" You know, and then immediately recovered and carried on with the reenactment, you know. And they were asking questions after it, and I put up my hand, and they said, "What did you notice?" And I said, "Well, the manager put his fucking brush in his mouth." And the trainer went, "Well, yeah, and?" I'm like, "Well, it's rude. It's disgusting. Don't do that." You know what I mean? Like, don't do that in front of customers. It's just not a nice thing to do. I know why you're doing it. But there's a difference between doing it at home and doing it in front of a customer when you're sitting next to them trying to show them how to paint. What are you going to do if they want to use your brush to do if you give them your brush to do some detailing? You've got your slobber all over it. Don't do that. It's health and safety too. Like, what you don't want to teach a new hobbyist is sticking fucking paint in your mouth. You know? Joel, send whatever you want, mate. Yeah. I'd love to see Thunder Warriors. Send them in. Got my graduation on Friday, but the only thing I feel like doing is painting my guard and Necron backlog after 5 years. Man, no. Enjoy your graduation. Never, ever, ever put the hobby above big life events like that. You know? You've really... Don't do that. Like, you've... Do your painting, have your fun, but make sure you go and you enjoy that graduation, man. It only happens once. Yeah, Grimm's models are similarly painted to mine. Similar colour scheme. A brush muncher. Again, like doing it in the don't get triggered. Doing it in the, you know, confined to your own home is completely, absolutely fine. You do what you need to do. I've done it from time to time when I just can't help but, you know, can't seem to get that tip on my brush right, you know? So don't worry about it. But my point is that if you're teaching a customer first time, don't stick your brush in your mouth. You know. I think what I'll do with City Skylines, because I'm looking to play it, is I'll come back early in the week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I'll stream it. And that's what we'll do. If any of you like watching me play video games, there is a Northern Exile gaming channel where I play video games. And right now we are uploading an entire playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3. Hey. What if the manager puts the brush in the customer's mouth? Is that better? Yeah, that's better. That's better. That's better. Yeah, oh man, like, oh, the days of having Monday and Tuesday off. So that was when I was in just working as a retail body. We never used to get 2 days off in concession. Like, our manager would make sure that we never got 2 days off in concession. Don't know why, just a thing he used to do. He would always have 2 days off in concession, but that's a story for another time. And when I got my own store, you know, the store was closed Monday, Tuesday, so Sunday was my Friday, essentially. But it was really weird. Like, I don't know whether you've had this, Daniel, because you've got a similar work pattern over there. But it was really weird coming home on a Sunday and being, like, quite excited that it's my weekend, quote-unquote. But also, like, a bit down because the train's empty. It's on the evening, right? The train's empty. Everywhere's quiet. No one's going out. There's no buzz in the air, right? And you get home and you text your friends to go out for a drink because, you know, you're off for the next 2 days and they're going back to work on Monday. The world seems to be out of step with you when you're working in retail. You know? The world really does seem like it's not in lockstep with you. And the days when you're knackered and going home on a Friday, Saturday, are the days where other people are going out and you lose touch. You know, you lose... It really did affect me, you know? I had no social life. I had no people that I really knew in my local area because I'd moved from my job. It was terrible. Yeah, Graham, I get that. If you're a not recluse, what's the word? You're not that sociable. I get that. But I often think when people say, you know, I'm a loner or I'm this and that, I just think that's somebody who's too afraid to let people in, to actually have friends in case they fuck them off. Do you know what I mean? I think that's somebody who's terrified of being rejected deep down. You know, like I'm perfectly happy being on my own. I'm perfectly happy sitting in here with my PC, just doing some models or playing some video games, doing some writing, doing whatever, right? But there does come a time when I'm sitting here and I definitely think, well, I need to get out now. I need to see people. Do you know what I mean? I need to speak to people. I need to flex the social muscles a bit, get the blood flowing. Do you know what I'm saying? That is it, Daniel. Yeah, it's hard to sync up social lives. You're either going into work like a zombie on the Saturday, on Sunday, or you're not, or you accept you're going to be on your own for a bit. Jen says my boyfriend works 4 on 4 off, so his weekends are all over the place, and 4 days long after doing 4 long shifts. I'm both slightly envious, but at the same time, I'd struggle. Good for dog ownership, though. Same problem here. I work Sunday to Thursday, 10 PM till 6:30 AM. I'm typically asleep when my mates are up. That's a killer. That's a bad one. That's a bad one, Underdog. Yeah, that's bad. Like that sucks. That sucks. That's kind of when you need your friends to step up and fight to include you. Do you know what I mean? Not that they need to be going out the way all the time, but just to make sure that you're okay. You know, you're all right. You're on your own. Blah blah. Check on you. You know, it'd be so easy for you to lose that tenuous link and not be around anymore. Not in a tragic way. I mean, like, you know, you just lose contact with these people and they're gone. You know. I have a really good friend and my mum that will always take time for me, so I'm never too isolated. That's good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Grim says, I understand. I just don't like people. I don't mind a person. I just don't like people. I feel irritated. I do sometimes. I will agree. There are times when I'm kind of done. When my social energy is down. You know what I mean? Swing shift is the roughest. You get to sleep relatively normal schedule, but you're always working when everybody else is free and vice versa. Yeah. Or you would have places that would put you on nights and then earlies. Like, what the fuck was that all about? The amount of bars I worked in when they put you on the late shift and then the early shift. So, alright, great. So I'm getting, what, 5, 6, 7 hours outside of work? So I'm going to go home, sleep for 5 hours and come back. Fuck off. It's illegal too, by the way. It's illegal. I'll Google it. How many hours should you have off between shifts? A 12-hour shift is legal. However, the regulations in the UK require that there should be a break of 11 consecutive hours between each 12-hour shift. So, whatever shift you're on, it says 12 hours there, but I'm fairly certain that you need, 8 to 10 hours off in between shifts. I used to work in security, 12-hour shift, 6 in a row, 2 days off. At the end of the month, you didn't know your name anymore. Yeah, I can imagine. The shit thing about security, too, is that you're literally out when everybody else is having a good time. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody's having a good time, jumping around, and you're just there trying to keep everybody from doing something stupid. Underdog says, we try to catch up every month or so. They're pretty accommodating. I'm currently trying to twist my closest mate's arm into picking up the hobby so we can play doubles tournaments together. That'd be cool. The hardest part for me, says Rotwang, I worked swing or third shift, was trying not to feel like a bum when I'm bored in the middle of the day and everybody else is working. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? You could be working a really serious job. Really serious. But if you're off when everybody else is at work, you still feel like you're unemployed. You know? Because those are the people you're generally hanging around with now. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm with you on that one. That is a definite phenomenon. It was like a US military base, so yeah. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Fair dues. Would you like to see a PC I'm building for Space Marine 2? Sure, man, send it in. Send it in. When it's done. Jen says, I work in HR. Yeah, that's working. That's working time directive. In some jobs, maybe an opt-out in your contract, maybe. But at our office and business, you cannot work until 15 hours after your... Yeah, same. So, we would say that all the time to bosses in bar work. We say that you can't do that. You can't put us on a late and then early the next morning. That's not how it works. You know, you got to have more than 7 hours off at least between shifts. Badster says, I'm about to hit the night shift tonight, finish at 8 AM. Trying to keep healthy and not eating crap food at night is also a challenge. Yep. How come so many of you are on night shifts? Is that because people watch the stream or generally in work or going to work, so want to be distracted? Stormcast Sutra working on some underworlds. Good. Yeah, well, I guess being a part of HR is about protecting people from themselves. You know, one thing, and Jen, I'm sure you could back me up. One thing that I will say is that I've got a mate who works in HR, and he said when I was having issues with Games Workshop, he said absolutely do not go to HR at Games Workshop because they don't work for you. They work for Games Workshop, right? If you're a problem, you'll be out of there quicker than a hiccup. They'll have you out of there. You know, they are there to protect the corporate overlords, not there to protect you. So I know, but you said the good HR people protect you from yourself, and will generally tell you, keep your head down, sort of a thing. Well, yeah, that was his opinion anyway. I used to do nights as a hotel manager. It was really easy, but ended up going from 82 kilograms to about 114 in a year. Why is that? Do you reckon if you eat overnight and you just shift around your patterns like that, that you put on weight naturally? You know? I love the night shift. 30% bonus pay and I don't have to get up early. Currently clinging on a forklift. Oh, currently chilling on a forklift. Fair enough. This is one of the great things about the internet, isn't it? And I think people say it all the time, but I don't know who in the world, like there's people out there listening to this right now who are like, again, as Underdog is in a forklift chilling out. You know, there'll be some guy in a warehouse somewhere. There'll be somebody who's putting reports together for school the next day. There'll be somebody who's doing the washing. There'll be somebody who's... it's incredible, the amount of people that you're just going through life, My favourite is when companies try to make everyone salaried employees so it becomes flexi time or other duties as assigned, trying to get around laws, taxes, regulations, etc. Yeah, happens all the time. I can smell my dinner downstairs. I love Sundays. It's the one day of the week I don't have to cook. I don't have to cook any day, but I like to cook. I'm the cook. I like to cook. Mainly because I get exactly what I want, how I want it, when I want it. Very nice. I do my hobby whilst waiting for calls. Lucky you, man. And Noel, would you do me a favour and email me when your tea gets there, mate? because I'm waiting for... Yours is the last one that I'm waiting for to get there. And then I can do another prize draw. Because I don't like to be too far behind, do you know what I mean? So I like to get all the prizes to people, then I'll do another prize draw. So let me know when it gets there. Nice, Blood Raven. And yeah, I get that, Joel. I get that. I get that. Totally. Right, I think I'm going to call it there in a minute. Because it's time for me to get my dinner, I think. I'm starving. Absolutely starving. But I love you a long time. I'll be back tomorrow with some more Hobby Nightmares. Tomorrow's is... Let's see what it is tomorrow. Things you should never say to a 40k bro and getting past a creative hobby nightmare. That'll be tomorrow. Alright? Alright. I love you all. I'll see you then. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And enjoy the football. And if you're not enjoying the football, or you're in work, or you're doing whatever you need to do, stay safe. Don't stress. I'll be back tomorrow. Alright? See you then. Bye now.